Hi, hello everyone. What we're doing today is we're taking a little step back to the beginning. I suppose that's the best way to describe it. And we're going to peel back the layers and go from computer systems right up. Okay, it's probably the best way to kind of have a look at it. So, what is a computer? Well, a computer is an now electronic machine that processes data in its most simple form. So if you look back to my video on Turing machines, I kind of go into it more detail on, but that's a nice kind of succinct way of putting it. Okay, so the purpose of a computer in its most is to, take data, process it, and output it. Now, the process is the important bit here because lots of things, a mathematical function will take data, it'll process it and output it. The difference with a computer is you program the computer to do it for you. So the actual process is taken out of humans' hands, okay, by creating algorithms that you then code into some type of language that the computer can then access and perform tasks on data in order to produce an output. Okay, so computers were created obviously to help process data and complete tasks more efficiently than humans. You can argue one way or the other on that one, but that's basically what they're there for. So obviously there's many types of computer systems. Okay, they range from like small little devices like calculators, watches, okay, mobile devices, tablets, phones, wearables, right up to large supercomputers that are used by banks. Supercomputers. Okay, most computers are what are called general purpose. In other words, they'll do a lot of different tasks and they're not specifically designed for one thing or another. Okay, for example, PCs, tablets, phones. So other computers, though, are dedicated systems which perform very specific tasks. Okay, and this is where we come to the idea of an embedded system. So, an embedded systems, these are computers built into larger machines. They are dedicated systems. So, plenty of examples for this: microwaves, washing machines, dishwashers, dryers. They'll all contain embedded systems, and the idea being that they perform function. Computers in cars, they perform dedicated systems functionality, basically. Okay, they're not meant to be general purpose. They're not meant to be able to surf the internet while playing a movie, while checking the temperature of the water for your and releasing the tablet in to clean the clothes or whatever. They're not meant to be doing all that. They're meant to be a specific set of things that they do and no more. Now, of course, the embedded systems that we use are microbits, Arduinos, and to a lesser extent, Raspberry Pis. And why I say it to a lesser extent Raspberry Pis, because most Raspberry Pis are full functioning computers, even though a lot of them are just used for one or two tasks. Okay, embedded systems are often used as control systems for other things. So, for example, sequencing in traffic lights and stuff like that, they'll be used for those type of functions. Okay, in the washing machine, it'll be used to control when the pumps turn on and off, to when the magnetic seal that keeps the door closed releases and the latch pops, that type of thing. So they'll have very dedicated functions. Okay, so they tend to be dedicated and, more importantly, cheap to produce and robust and efficient. So there's lots of advantages to using them. Okay, they're extremely robust. They're meant to take a bit of a beating. That's the whole point of them. There's less complexity in them, and the less complexity, you tend to have less problems, less things that can go wrong, especially when you only have one function to fill. Okay, so that'll be the use of them as an embedded system. Okay, with regards to computers in general, I mean, we've gone through a lot of the hardware, but most computers will have similar kind of hardware systems. They'll have some type of power supply, either internally or externally. Okay, they'll have some type of cooling system, and that could be fan, water, heat sinks. Okay, so anything like that, they'll have something like that to cool the heat that's being produced by the computer itself. They'll have some type of CPU and maybe a GPU, depending, but they'll definitely have some type of central processing unit. Okay, they'll have some type of drive, be it solid, optical, or magnetic. And obviously, if it's solid or magnetic, those drives will be the storage systems. The optical drive will be just for, some type of media, playing media or something like that. Okay, there'll be RAM, and all this will be situated on a motherboard, which will contain all the connections necessary for the running of the computer system. Okay. In terms of what a lot of you will end up doing if you do get into your computers, and you buy your own motherboard, you buy all these things separately, and you will customize, because you'll realize that it can be cheaper sometimes than buying an off the shelf version, and B, customizing something makes it more, it fits your particular user profile a lot better. Okay, all these things, as well as all that, there's going to be loads of cables, both USB, SATA cables, loads of cables in there to connect all the systems. And this is meant to be, a lot of these, when we're talking about a PC setup, a lot of these are going to be plug and play, or simple clicky in, clicky out. They're meant to be modular. They're meant to be easy to take apart, put new bits in. When you're dealing with a laptop, it really depends on the spec. Okay. With a laptop, because you're dealing with a smaller enclosed space, a lot of this stuff comes pre-soldered on and you can't get it out. The exception would be usually the drives and possibly the CPU, GPU, and the RAM. Although nowadays, a lot of laptops are come with pre-soldered RAM and you cannot add new RAM. So it becomes an issue. Cooling systems, you really can't do anything much with that inside a laptop, because the space isn't there to kind of play around with it. Similar to the power supply, you can replace them, but you can't upgrade them usually. Motherboards, the same idea. It's kind of pointless. You're better off trying to just get rid of some of the other bits and change them. So that's just a little introduction to what computer systems are. Okay, and again, it's very important that you visualize that idea of an embedded system. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.